There's a phrase in the Bitcoin world that gets repeated a lot. You've probably already heard it. Not your keys, not your coins. It sounds like a slogan, like a bumper sticker. But there's an important idea underneath it, one that separates people who understand Bitcoin from people who think they do. This episode is about self-custody, what it means, why it matters, how to move toward it, and how to do it without the fear that puts most people off before they even start. Because here's the truth, self-custody feels intimidating. It's supposed to. That feeling is information, not a reason to avoid it. And by the end of this episode, you'll understand exactly what's involved and why it's more manageable than it sounds. Ready to take your first real step? Get the guide, Buying Your First Bit of Bitcoin, $15, link in the description. When you buy Bitcoin on an exchange and leave it there, something important is true that most people don't realize. You don't actually own that Bitcoin, not in the fullest sense. What you own is a number on a screen, a record in the exchange's database that says you're owed that amount of Bitcoin, an IOU, and the exchange holds the actual keys. That's not a conspiracy theory. It's how custodial accounts work. And it's the same basic arrangement you have with a bank. The bank holds your money. The exchange holds your Bitcoin. You hold a claim on it. And that claim is only as good as the institution standing behind it. For small amounts while you're learning, that's an acceptable arrangement. But it comes with real risk, because exchanges are not infallible. FTX was one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world. In November 2022, it collapsed in 72 hours. Billions of dollars in customer funds, gone. Its founder went to prison. The people who held their Bitcoin in their own wallets were unaffected. The people who trusted FTX to hold it for them lost everything. Mt. Gox, Celsius, Voyager, the same story, different names, across more than a decade. Exchange failure is not a theoretical risk. It's a documented recurring reality. Self-custody exists to remove that risk entirely. If you hold your own keys, no exchange failure can touch your Bitcoin. No hack of a third-party platform. No bankruptcy proceeding. No freeze. Your Bitcoin is yours. Completely. Directly. Without an intermediary. Self-custody means you hold your own private key. Not an exchange. Not a bank. Not a company. You. We covered private keys in episode 6. Quick recap. Your Bitcoin lives on the blockchain. The private key is what proves you own it and authorizes you to move it. Whoever holds the key holds the Bitcoin. When you hold your own key, in a wallet you control, on a device you control, nobody else can touch your Bitcoin. No company can freeze it. No government can seize it through a third party. No hacker can access it by breaching a platform you're not even aware of. The Bitcoin moves only when you authorize it, with your key, on your terms. That's the freedom Bitcoin was designed to offer, and self-custody is how you actually access it. But, and this is the part that requires honesty, with full control comes full responsibility. When you hold your own keys, there's no customer service, no password reset, no dispute process, no one to call if something goes wrong. If you lose your private key and your seed phrase with no backup, your Bitcoin is gone. Permanently. Nobody can recover it for you. That's not a reason to avoid self-custody. It's a reason to approach it carefully, understand it properly, and set it up right the first time, which is exactly what this episode is for. Self-custody doesn't have to happen all at once. Most people move toward it gradually, starting on an exchange, learning how everything works, then taking control of their keys when they feel confident enough to do it properly. Here's what that progression looks like in practice. The first step is getting a wallet you actually control. For a first move off an exchange, a hot wallet is a reasonable starting point. Apps like Blue Wallet, Moon, or Exodus are free, well regarded, and give you genuine control over your keys, unlike an exchange wallet where the platform holds them for you. For longer-term, larger holdings, a hardware wallet is the gold standard. Trezor and Ledger are the most established. They cost between $50 and $200. Your keys never touch the internet, and the security they provide is worth far more than the price. Most serious Bitcoin holders end up with both: a hot wallet for small amounts they might actually use day to day, and a cold wallet for the bulk of what they hold long term. The second step is the seed phrase, and this is where most of the real care is required. When you set up any self-custody wallet, it generates a seed phrase, 12 or 24 words, in a specific order. This sequence of words is the master key to your entire wallet. Whoever has it can restore your wallet and access all your Bitcoin from any compatible device anywhere in the world. Write it down, on paper, by hand, in the exact order it appears. Store it somewhere physically safe, not in your phone, not in a photo, not in any app or cloud service. Consider making 2 copies and storing them in 2 separate locations: a house fire, a flood, a move. Physical redundancy protects against physical failure. And once you've written it down, test it. Most wallets let you verify your seed phrase during setup. Do it. Confirm that what you've written is correct before you move any Bitcoin into that wallet. Let's talk about the feeling. Self-custody makes people nervous. The finality of it, the weight of being the only person responsible, the slight panic that comes with writing down 12 words, and understanding that those 12 words are worth real money. That feeling is appropriate. It means you understand what you're doing. It means you're taking it seriously. The problem isn't the fear. The problem is when the fear becomes avoidance, when it keeps people on an exchange indefinitely, because self-custody feels too complicated, too risky, too much responsibility. That's a trap, because leaving Bitcoin on an exchange indefinitely also carries risk. Different risk, but real risk. You're not avoiding risk by staying on an exchange. You're just choosing a different kind. The goal is to understand both options clearly enough to make a deliberate choice, not to stay on an exchange, because self-custody feels scary, but to stay on an exchange, because you've decided that's the right call for right now. And right now might be exactly that. If you've recently bought your first amount of Bitcoin, if you're still learning how all of this works, if self-custody still feels like too much, that's fine. Stay where you are. Secure your exchange account properly. Keep learning. But put self-custody on the list, not as something you'll get to eventually, as something you're working toward, deliberately, as your understanding grows. Because that's what ownership actually looks like. Not holding it on someone else's platform, holding it yourself, with the key, in your hands. Self-custody is the fullest expression of what Bitcoin makes possible. Money that nobody else controls. Money that belongs entirely to whoever holds the key. Money that can't be frozen, seized, or taken without your authorization. That's the arc you're building toward, and you're already well into it. That closes out Arc 2, Getting Started. 8 episodes. From the why to the what, to actually buying it, to keeping it safe. You now have a genuinely complete picture. Ready to take your first real step? Get the guide, Buying Your First Bit of Bitcoin, $15, link in the description. Bitcoin for Girls, the building of a beautiful future. See you next episode.